It's the Rise and Shine Talk Show with Lady C, where we uplift, educate, and motivate. Let's talk about life and faith, ministry, and so much more. Conversations from a pastor's wife perspective. I am Lady C, your host. Family, be sure to like, follow, and share Rise and Shine with Lady C on Facebook and Instagram. Also, head over to ChariceCrump.com for all things Rise and Shine and all shows. Family, I am so excited about today's show. We are flowing in the Holy Ghost on today. So I have to give you the backstory as to how this spontaneous interview happened. So we are currently in there is a Remnant Unity Conference, and I was talking to the saints after service about Rise and Shine, and two precious ladies, Minister Stevens and Minister Carmen, said, Lady C, you have to talk to Brother JoJo. You got to talk to Brother JoJo. He has a powerful testimony. Yes, he does. For real, you need to talk to him. I said, hold up. I went around the corner to the one and only Bishop Willie Wimbush Jr. to ask his permission and get his stamp of approval. And here we are, less than 24 hours, family, so that you may be encouraged. Family, I'm so excited. I introduce to you on today Mr. Joseph Fussler, affectionately known as Brother JoJo. Welcome to Rise and Shine.
Thank you for having me. It's Fussell, Lady C. Fussell. A lot of people mess that.
What, how?
Fussell, like Russell with an F. Fussell.
Fussell.
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
that's all right.
All right.
Well, thank you for that. I want to make sure I have my guest names correct.
It's German. German.
Come on now. You know we everywhere. I love it. So, Brother JoJo, how are you on today?
I'm great.
That is awesome. So I want to thank you for taking time to stop by while you're in town to share your story on life and your road to recovery. So I just want to go ahead and get started and, ask you, where are you from and just a little bit about your journey. So where are you from?
I'm from East Cleveland, Ohio, small little city inside of Cleveland. It was the first suburb of Cleveland.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The first suburb. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
My
awesome.
grandparents my grandmother been there 70 plus years. She's 95. She's
Wow.
still living in the same house. They were the first black couple to move to East Cleveland.
Wow. That's some history.
Yeah,
that is some history.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about, life growing up, in East Cleveland.
Well, life in East Cleveland used to be, when we were coming up, it was a great place to be.
Mm-hmm.
As we got older, with the crack epidemic and all of the drugs and stuff coming into the black community,
Mm-hmm.
it tore our community down. But when I was coming up, it was no other place to be but East Cleveland. We had parks, I didn't know anything about no bandos, it wasn't no drugs. We played football in the streets, walk to school, we played snowball fights with, manhunt, things like that where you get out in the community.
Yeah.
It was a community where you can go around a corner and you do something, your neighbor will whoop you and take you home and you get a whooping. It was real structure. It was a real community.
Yeah. So what was your family life like growing up, your household and things like that with mom and dad?
Well, my mother always made a home. My dad was the worker.
Okay.
But, like every other family had some issues, some things that I wish I didn't have to experience. But you're like, Dad, you used to use drugs, used to abuse mom, physically, little domestic violence here and there. And that was kind of like my reality coming up.
Okay.
My dad, every time he would come home, me and my sister would kind of like grab each other. We didn't know what father was coming home.
Yeah.
But it was cool though. Other than that, my dad, in spite of the shortcomings, my mother, in spite of her shortcomings, my dad always kept me busy with motorcycles and dirt bikes and racetracks, train sets, things to keep my mind occupied as a young man. And my mother always, like I said, she always made a home, cooked every day, every day, every day.
I don't know.
Every day.
Brother JoJo.
We didn't have a microwave.
Wow.
Right. So I think we got a microwave maybe when I was a teenager, maybe.
My goodness.
But she cooked, clean. I don't care where we lived at. When you came in the house, you always thought you was in heaven.
I love it.
My mother always made a home, and to this day, it's the same way, and it helped me there's something that I kept for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. It was something my mother taught me as a kid
Mm-hmm.
was you never put a glass on a glass table. You always use a coaster. And so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how much of a benefit that was until I got sober. I was at a friend's house one day, and my first nature was they had a glass table. They offered me a cup of water,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked for a coaster.
Wow.
Just to yeah, when you talk
Yeah.
about upbringing, that was just something that I didn't really realize that how much the qualities that my mama
Mm.
was giving me as a kid.
Wow. Your mother instilled home
Oh
training.
man, she really,
And
she
that's
really
what's
did.
lacking, I would say, a lot in this
This
generation. When
generation is suffering.
mm,
Let's say
mm,
that it's
mm, mm.
suffering.
My goodness. So, Brother JoJo, talk to us about, your journey. What transpired in your life that led you, to experiencing addiction in your life?
Well, when I got sober,
Mm-hmm.
this was a question that I too had until I got sober. Okay,
Okay.
so looking back, it was a lot of unchecked behaviors
Mm.
that I had developed in order for a safety net that I can endure my environment.
Okay.
Meaning, I learned how to lie. I learned how to withhold information. I
Mm-hmm.
learned how to cut a little corners.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I got older with those behaviors not ever being checked, when I did the drugs, well, I'm gonna say this, I was kind of looking for something
Okay.
in a sense. Truly, I was,
Mm-hmm.
trying to understand myself as a growing young man.
Mm-hmm.
All my life, I've been curious. I've been
Mm.
outspoken. I've been strong. I've been smart.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I'm sober, um, I believe. Well, I don't believe. I know that it's my job as a parent, or parents' job as a parent, to see
Mm-hmm.
the quality in our children
Yeah.
and enhance them, and help them strengthen those qualities. And
Yes.
so I didn't have nobody to help me do that, so I had to experience those things on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of time when I was encountering aunties, uncles, dad,
Mm-hmm.
mother, it was always for what I didn't do, and it was never about what I did. So
Didn't receive that
that
affirmation that you,
affirmation,
yeah,
so
yeah.
so it makes a difference, when children coming up, me as a child coming up, me not ever hearing that I could. It's always what I
Mm.
can't do and what I ain't gonna do and what I
Okay.
didn't do. So when you're dealing with somebody, it's all right to discipline your kids.
Mm-hmm.
It was all right. No, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna speak about myself. It was
Mm-hmm.
all right for me to be disciplined, but when it's never no balance where I'm being disciplined, but I know I'm loved. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I started out, and my grandparents, like I said, my father used drugs,
Okay.
and my grandfather always drank, but he
Mm-hmm.
got up and went to work every day. And so he was kind of like, it was kind of like I was around drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and I was never told not to do them because it seemed like it was fun. 'Cause, my
Okay.
grandparents had a bar in the house. You know how, I don't know how your household was coming up, but grandmother had a bar in the house, and I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house. So
Mm-hmm.
my grandma would put beer in our baby bottles, to put us to sleep
Wow.
when they having parties and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so, but it like I said, it was never considered a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as I got older, I started out drinking, and I kind of jumped off the porch when I was real young,
Mm-hmm.
like probably about 7 or 8 years old. I was out in the streets, and so we started out smoking maybe rolled up paper bags. We
Okay.
would go in the closet and sneak and do that,
Wow.
try to, because my dad used to smoke a lot of marijuana,
Okay.
and so it started like that. And I started out drinking, and when I started out drinking,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't learn this until after I got sober. But when I started out drinking, I couldn't have one drink.
Wow.
So I would take a 40 ounce of old English and
Mm-hmm.
just take it straight to the neck. Just drink it all the way down. I wasn't happy until I was pissy drunk somewhere, and I can't think, can't move,
Mm.
can't anything, because at the time I didn't know I hated myself.
Wow.
So I think unconsciously that's what drove me to the drugs more, because it put me in a place where I didn't have to think about what I was
Mm-hmm.
going through. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
to think about the thoughts, the
Yeah.
feelings that I would
Yeah.
get with the things that I was dealing with. And this goes back to what I was telling you. I created behaviors
Mm-hmm.
that would put me in like a safety net or that was never checked.
Okay.
And so that's how I start. That's how I started. And my mom and dad were. My dad was kind of like the disciplinary
Mm-hmm.
in the household. So when they got a divorce and it was just me, my mother and all my brothers and sisters, and seeing my dad beat my mom, I had got to a point in my life where I was just tired of struggling. I was tired
Yeah.
of, everything I was going through. So I
Mm-hmm.
resorted to drugs, and I first started out, selling drugs and trying to make ends meet where I can help
Mm-hmm.
my brother. Because me and my two brothers, we would share clothes, going to
Wow.
school, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of things that I don't want to. I can get in there. I don't want to just waste a lot of time in one area. But we had a lot of things. We had a lot of struggling. Where my mother, she
Mm-hmm.
never worked. So when my dad left, it was kind of like what, like last night when he was talking about the lady when the husband passed,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
prophet came and she had
Mm-hmm.
a son because
Mm-hmm.
it was the woman that depended on the husband for
Yeah.
support, for
Mm-hmm.
stability, for money, and that's how it
Yes.
was with my dad. So when he left, we was struggling. We would have to go
Mm.
to the grocery store and my mother make a grocery list, and everybody had to steal something off the grocery list in order for us
Wow.
to eat. And this is
Right.
facts.
Right.
You
This is
know,
real life.
it's real life. This true
Yeah.
talk. And so, when the crack epidemic hit, me and my brothers, that's what we started doing. Now, my
Wow.
grandfather, he always had his own business, right? And I worked with my granddad,
Mm-hmm.
learned roofing, learned construction.
Okay.
And, but it wasn't what I was saying to you about to bring out the best in your children,
Yeah.
right? So my
Yeah.
grandfather would have us working, but he never explained to us why
Mm. And the purpose
and the
and
purpose and what
yeah.
it is to be
Yeah.
a man. And he was,
Yeah.
because he had raised my mother and his kids, and I guess that I'm just trying to figure out make it make sense. But
Right.
he did always tell me you got to work, that fast money, you just ain't that. But he not telling me that what's the reason why I should be responsible, why I should
Mm-hmm.
be consistent. Those
Yeah.
things were never really instilled in me. My grandfather, like I said, he got up and worked every day. My dad worked every day, and these are things that I seen because I work hard till this day.
And that's where your work
That's where
ethic
my work
comes
ethic
in.
came. But as far as being a father, as far as
Yeah.
being a man, as far as
Mm-hmm.
being honest, as far as being consistent,
Yeah.
all of those things wasn't instilled in me. So those are things that I had to learn myself.
Yeah. So tell me what transition or what was going on that led you eventually into recovery? Where were you at in life right before you went to, I believe, the Whitehaven?
I was I was living on the streets,
Okay.
homeless, crazy, out my mind, and in and out. When I say crazy out my mind, like 1 minute I'm cool, 1 minute I'm talking to myself. What led to recovery? I was one day I had took a hit. Now I used to smoke crack and PCP
Mm-hmm.
and alcohol. That was my. It
Wow.
was the one. It was like a 1, 2, 3 punch. I had to have all three. So I don't know if you're familiar with PCP. They call it wet. They call it sherm. I would lace my wet cigarettes with crack. I
Mm-hmm.
would sometimes put it all in a pipe. I would alcohol when I couldn't get my
Yeah.
hands on that. I put anything in my body. But this particular day, and it's what led to it. I'm gonna say this. It wasn't like I had an epiphany,
Mm-hmm.
like God opened up the sky and said, "Son, it's time." It was nothing like that. God sent me help and I took it.
Mm. That's good.
He sent me help and I took it. So what happened was I had an old friend that I hadn't seen in 20 years.
Wow.
And I was walking down the street and I was ziggity boo. I had a bag of party mix in one arm, a Arizona in the other. And I had a shorty, a White Irish Rose in my back pocket. I just took a strong hit and I was just walking. I was zooted out. And she pulled up on me
Mm-hmm.
and she said, "Joe." She called my name and I turned around and I looked and she said, because I don't really remember detail for detail, but she said I just looked at her and I didn't say anything. I just looked her dead in the eye. And she said, "What's wrong? This ain't you," because she hadn't seen me. Usually I'm clean, clean
Right.
cut, nice, decent clothes. I will
Mm-hmm.
always about my business. But at this particular time, let me rewind a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
had went through a divorce. I
Okay.
was married for 16 years and I went through a divorce, and it's like that's when my process began.
Okay.
And from that time, I got a divorce in 2013. I was homeless from 2013 to 2020, homeless.
My Lord.
And so I had on a business in 2013. I had a trucking business. I did all of that gone. Family gone. It was like
My goodness.
that part of my life. But it was it's an asset to me now because it had to
Mm-hmm.
happen for me to
Yeah.
get to where I am. So that just led up to me being homeless. So I'll give you some kind of background how I got
Mm-hmm.
homeless. And so my friend was used to seeing me like that, on my own business working. But
Right.
like I told you, I had the worth ethics.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do know, that your ability to have you in a place that your character can't keep you.
That's good.
So I'm sitting
Yeah.
here, I'm working hard. I got a business,
Mm-hmm.
but I ain't got no confidence in myself. I
Mm-hmm.
don't trust nobody.
Right.
I don't know nothing about integrity. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know nothing about being honest.
Yeah.
And so all of this brokenness is still going on. I've got a
Mm.
mask on the outside. It look like I'm a functioning adult, but I'm not.
Right.
I'm crazy. I'm nuttier than squirrel boo boo, literally.
Mm.
And so she saw me and she said, "This ain't you." And so she got my number and she said she gonna be praying for me, and she left. Then she called me back 15 minutes later, like,
Wow.
I cannot take my mind off. God told me to give you something. So she came back and she gave me $15. And I said, thank you. And she said, I'm gonna be praying for you, Joe. I'm really worried
Yeah.
about you. And so I took the $15. You know what I went and did with it when it got hot. But the next day she called me again.
My
And
Lord.
she said, what are you gonna do? You need to get out from around them demons. This is what she said. This is
Wow.
her saying you need to get out from around them demons. But when you in sin,
Yeah.
when you are in a black place, when you are in anything you want to label it as,
Mm-hmm.
you can't see where you are because you're in there
Mm-hmm.
until you come
Mm-hmm.
into the light. You don't
Yes.
see how
Yes.
much darkness you're in until you come into the light. So she came and shined a light on my situation, and she called Whitehaven. Now, I had been trying to get into Whitehaven. It's a place called 2100 in Cleveland, on 2100 in Lakeside. It's a men's shelter. But because of my schizophrenic and my depression and my
Mm-hmm.
post-traumatic stress disorder, because I've been shot twice, I've been in a motorcycle accident. This is how my arm is like this. And so because of all of these things that I have experienced
Mm-hmm.
mentally, I can't be around people in no tight, cold place, especially people I wasn't familiar with. Plus,
Right.
the drugs and do nothing but enhance it. So it's kind of like the devil had me in the grip lot because I won't go stay in the shelter
Mm-hmm.
because I can't, and then I'm not, because I got to go to the shelter. That's what I'm thinking, to get into the rehab.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's
Okay.
why I'm walking around. I would walk
Yeah.
around for days without sleeping until I fall to sleep. Well, I sit down and I fall to sleep somewhere because I was afraid that if I closed my eyes, the devil was gonna kill me. This
My
was my
God.
mindset. And so she called Whitehaven for me.
Mm, mm,
And this
mm.
was my road to recovery. When I said God sent me help and I took it, she called them. And she said, well, they want you to call. They said, Whitehaven wants you to call them. So I called him, just thinking it's the regular, because I had been turned down for all kinds of stuff already. And
Really?
my mindset is I'm already in a defeated place.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I ain't get no epiphany like
Mm-hmm.
God came and said, "Son, it's time to do this."
Right.
It wasn't like that. At this point in my life, I'm asking God why, but I don't got the strength to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate getting high. It had
Mm-hmm.
got to a point where I hated it, but I kept doing it
Mm-hmm.
because it had became a way of life, a habit that had to be broke. But so she called him, and I called him, and the lady told me, "We want you to come in." This was the week prior. It was like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of the week
Mm-hmm.
prior. She said, "We want you to come in next Wednesday." I said, "For what? An interview? For you to just interview me? I don't need that." She said,
Right.
"No, we got a bed for you."
My God. And all this time, my goodness.
All this time, Lady C. But I do believe that it was something that I needed,
Yeah.
and I got it though, because
Yeah.
I went to a place being
Mm.
in my addiction. I've seen the devil in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing people that have, I understand what it is to have an addiction and
Yeah.
can't break it. by the grace of God, I can sit here and talk to you.
Yes.
That's how I know it's God.
Yes.
Because it ain't me. Because all the drugs I use, being shot twice, point blank range, all kind of things that I've been through. People say luck. I don't believe in it. I know that it was God.
Nobody
My
but
God.
God. Yeah.
My God. Now, I'm a
Yeah.
personalized because I had to personalize it to understand it. But he went. I used to cry a lot about what I was going through. And didn't understand. And when she called them and they told me that I had a bed, you talking about a weight being lifted?
My goodness.
I didn't think it was no more hope.
Wow.
But that was my cue, God tapping me on the shoulder. I got you.
My
And so
goodness.
when I went to White Haven, that's when it started.
Oh my goodness. So for those who have never experienced, an in treatment, so it's an in treatment facility. So what does that look like? What are some of the things, the skill sets, and what are some of the things that they work on with individuals during their recovery at Whitehaven?
Let me say this, Lady C.
Mm-hmm.
As a black man
Mm-hmm.
raised solely majority time by my mom,
Mm-hmm.
I think that let me speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
I expected what you just asked.
Mm-hmm.
What was the skill set that they gave or what they did?
Right.
It was nothing. Only thing Whitehaven did was give me a roof and some suggestions.
Wow.
It was everything was on me.
Wow.
Recovery is not something somebody can give you. It's something that you have to work on
And you have to want it.
and have to want it.
My
It
goodness.
takes all of you. It's not going to be because I went to Whitehaven that I was going to get sober. It's everything is a choice, and they tell you that when you come in the door. And in any facility that tell you different, you might should go to a different one. But when I went into Whitehaven, they tell me everything that we're telling you is a suggest. They suggested that I get a sponsor. They suggest these are the things. Now I'm about to give you what you're asking, but I wanted you to have the understanding that there was nothing Whitehaven did but open the door for me and gave me some suggestions, and I just took them because it's a suggestive program.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is really enlightening.
Yeah, it's a suggestive program. So if you think that you're going to go to treatment, and because they make you, because they do have requirements like
Okay.
any other facility would have, or like you would go to a job, you got a 30-day probationary
Yep.
period. You got to do this. You can do this. You can't do that. Anywhere it has a structure, but your program is your program, and what you put into it and what you get out of it. So they made a suggestion. They said you need to get you a sponsor. And I'm gonna tell you what I did, Lady C, when I went in there. Everything I was taught about God, about life, about anything, I put it away. I put it aside for a moment. You know why? Because
Why?
my best thinking got me using crack.
Wow.
My best thinking got me using PCP. My best thinking got me drinking. My best thinking got me abusing myself. So what I thought, this is what I was telling you about the behaviors that wasn't checked. My thinking process had been so messed up because of the mechanism I had to build up to be the person to survive in my environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't even,
Yeah,
I didn't
I get
even,
it.
I didn't trust myself.
I got you.
So I put it to a side and say, I'm gonna take these suggestions. I'm gonna be like a robot right now.
Okay.
So they said, get a sponsor. I got a sponsor. Do 5 meetings a week. I did 5 meetings. When I was in there, we had to share a room with a roommate. They give you apartments. So
Okay.
it's like an old CMHA building, and they give you these apartments that you have to share with maybe 1 or 2 people. So I was sharing an apartment with a Caucasian brother and another African American brother. And 2:30 in the morning, I haven't been here about a week or two.
Okay.
2:30 in the morning, I look up the Caucasian brother trying to get in the bed with me.
Oh, Jesus.
Now where I'm from, I don't been in prison and everything. That's ground for me to do something to him and say I'm out of here.
Right.
But
right.
you know what I did, First Lady?
What's that?
I told you I put my street mentality to the side.
Okay.
My prison mentality. Everything that I ever learned to that point was garbage to me because it had got me where I was, and I said I'm not gonna stay here.
Right.
I got an opportunity, And so I went and sat on my counselor's door. 2 in the morning to 7 in the morning to 7, 8 o'clock in the morning till she came.
Till she came in.
And told her what happened. And you think that, and let me tell you how the devil is, they didn't even move him out of my room.
Wow.
They told me that he said he didn't take his medication and he was sleepwalking. So, but I'm just telling you the details because this was this how bad I had to want
Right. I
this.
got you.
Where
I
I'm
got
like,
you.
I'm gonna still stay in this room.
Right.
You ain't moving me that easy.
Right.
No, I'm
Right.
not going back to that though.
Right.
And so got me a sponsor. I got me a home group.
Mm-hmm.
This what they recommended. You need to get you a home group. You need to see a therapist for your mental health issues.
That's good. That's
I
good.
went and did that. I did everything that they told me to do, and what you see today is a product of me taking some suggestions. And two, I got to a point, Lady C, where now I'm no longer practicing these things. I'm living them.
My God. Ooh, you about to make me run around this
Yeah,
sanctuary.
So it's
Powerful.
all predicated on you. So if you are in addiction, if you are in a downtrodden place, you dealing with mental issues. When you have a problem with your body or your weight, what you gonna do? You go to the gym.
Go to the gym.
When you got a problem with your car, where you take it?
To the car mechanic.
When you got a problem with your brain, where you supposed to go?
To the therapist.
To the therapist. So these are things that I had to change the way I thought about life. Where they was teaching me as a black man, you got to be strong. You stronger than that, Joe, and this, that, the other, because they don't see me do all of these things and function with one arm. But I didn't get sober from strength. I got stronger because I got wise and went and educated myself on who I was as a person. Because in the big book, it tell you to arm yourself with facts about yourself. The big book is the AA book. They tell you to arm yourself with facts about yourself. And I had to do a thorough step forward where I had to admit to God and to myself and to another human being the exact natures of my wrong. That's why I had to personalize it and find out everything in my life is a result of a choice that I made.
My goodness.
Ain't nobody make me pick up crack. Ain't nobody make me pick up PCP. Regardless of what I had been through with my parents, with my father, with the prison, everything that I've been through, being shot, it's all a choice. No is a word, except it's the same as yes is. And so it's a choice. Yeah. And I know today I got a choice. When I found that I had a choice.
A choice.
I got a choice. I can choose to do or choose not to do. And that was changed my life. When I got into Whitehaven, I found out they gave me an opportunity I had a choice. Yeah. And it changed my life. So when I got into Whitehaven, there was nobody holding your hand. They give you a room number. They feed you once a week. They got a truck coming and bring you food once a week. Okay. Your program is your program. You can go in there and sit in that room all day long. You can go downstairs where everybody be congregating, talking about what they was doing when they was using drugs. I did none of that. When I was in treatment, I was in my room. When I wasn't in my room, I was in IOP. If I wasn't in IOP, I was at a meeting or somewhere with my sponsor. And because when I had the issue when the guy got in the bed, tried to get in the bed with me, I called my sponsor. And you know what he told me? Because I'm mad, though.
Right.
My flesh,
you ready
the
to
human
pop
part, I'm ready, I'm about to do something. He said, Joe, Whitehaven didn't come looking for you.
Oh, that's good.
They didn't come looking for you. You went looking for help. Get the help you need.
Get the help you need.
And that's it. He hung up on me.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah, get the help you need.
Get the help you need.
Get the help you need.
So we know that depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and recovery, has had a remarkable impact on society. And you mentioned, and I was just so glad to hear you say that. It was just like drinking a cup of water when you said about therapy. Now, we as the women, we're going to get our little therapist. We're going to have our little girl group. Why is it so important? Talk to the brothers, Brother JoJo. That is okay. It is okay to get a therapist. It's okay.
I think for me as a man, my biggest struggle was when they told me to get a sponsor and they talked to me about therapy was me having to admit that I wasn't strong. Me going to a therapist saying that I don't got it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't got it. And so that right there, after you've been trying to hold it together
Yeah.
your whole life,
Your whole life, yeah.
and you got to go admit, I just don't got it. As a
Yeah.
man, it's in our biology to
Mhm.
to always have it, and that's what we
Yes.
taught coming up. You got to be strong. But brothers, I'm gonna tell you,
Talk to him.
it's okay to cry. It's okay to have emotion. God made us this way.
Yes.
With these
yes.
emotions, with the tears, with the crying, all of these things God gave
Yeah.
to us. When I became who I was, I understood the balance in these things, that I had an imbalance in my value system. So it was okay for me not to have it. I didn't make myself that way. It was my environment that helped me make myself
Yeah.
that way. But I had to unmake myself that way. But I could not do. This is what help is. They got people that specialize in therapy. They got people that specialize in physical education.
Yes, they
I went
do.
to a therapist, and this lady was unbelievable. She changed my life. I told you I've been shot twice. I couldn't shower with the door closed or the shower curtain closed. I had to sleep in the house with all the lights on. I couldn't. That's why I was telling you I couldn't stay
Right.
in the shelter, because that environment was too
Yeah.
busy for
Yeah,
me
and-
because of
and
my
trauma and
and
different-
trauma,
Yeah.
my psychological issues. But today I can do it. I went to therapy for 2 years straight. I just stopped going.
My
I've been
goodness.
clean going on 4 months in August. I don't want to count past today because it's just for today.
Yeah.
But yes, if it's God's willing, I'll make it to August. I'll be clean 4 years.
Amen.
Went to therapy for once a week for 2 years
My goodness.
straight.